The best-selling console for Sony is the PlayStation 2, and I can see why. It's also a big part of my teenage years. With its immense line of games, there's something for everyone. To appreciate the PlayStation 2, I've come up with my top 5 PS2 titles, so let's begin with number 5. I tend to flip-flop as to which Sly Cooper game is my favourite, but when I first played Sly 3, it definitely was at the time, and it probably still is. A lot of fans tend to dislike Sly 3 because of its differences, but that's why I like it. When a game tries new ideas, it keeps things fresh and interesting, even if it doesn't end well. I can appreciate when a game does that, and it's also why I lost interest in games like Pokemon over time, because they never felt like they tried anything new. Sly 3 introduces new characters to play, as well as Bentley and Murray from Sly 2, each with their own area of expertise. There's way more interesting places in this game, a lot less dark and grim like some of the Sly 2 areas. They took out the clue bowls, which has left a lot of people bummed, but I honestly didn't mind. I usually don't even go for many bowls in Sly 2, so for me it was welcome. I love the upgrades to the characters, like Bentley and Murray now being able to pickpocket. Heck, Bentley has a badass wheelchair that does all sorts of stuff, and I like how Murray basically shakes enemies down. He'd be like, "Give me your lunch money," while Sly pretty much is the same as he was in Sly 2. You now know how much each of your pickpocket treasure is worth, and you don't need to sell them. It's automatically sold for gold, a great addition that takes out the extra step. You probably won't do this often, but there's even obstacles you can interact to set traps on enemies. New styles of gameplay, gimmicks, I welcome this. I enjoy most of them. I feel like I may be alone in this, but if there is anyone who also likes Sly 3, can I get a hashtag hell yeah? If you're willing to be open to some variety in gameplay, then you might like Sly 3. This Yu-Gi-Oh game I love because of the different style of gameplay. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Duels of the Roses is my personal favourite Yu-Gi-Oh game. You start off by choosing your starter deck and deck leader, in which it represents the player's life points. If a monster has at least one silver star, it can be used as a deck leader, and the higher the rank, you get special abilities. The game still functions like Yu-Gi-Oh! For the most part, but like Forbidden Memories, where you can only play one card per turn, no matter it being a monster or a magic/trap card. Playing on a board that reminds me of chess in the way that you move cards across the map. Each card can only move one space per turn, unless they are on an advantage terrain space and is face up, then they can move 2 spaces. The deck leader can move as well, which is important if your opponent is trying to attack you. There's a chance to try and escape, either attacking the monsters to damage life points or attack the leader. I really enjoy this unique take on the game. It adds a new bit of strategicness to it. Is that a word? You can box the leader in so they can't do anything, and they either lose life points or surrender. Around the leader there are 5 spaces in which you can place a card on the field. They limit you to a few star chips, which represents what monsters can be summoned, and you get 3 stars added each turn, so you need to save up your stars to summon big monsters. There's no tribute summons in this game. Luckily, you don't need stars for non-monster cards. I tried to use the terrain to my advantage, or the enemy can get the upper hand. The terrain will either buff you, debuff you, do nothing, or if it's crush terrain, destroy a monster with 1500 attack or more. When you destroy a monster and it goes to the graveyard, it may show up after you win in the slot machine, so you have a chance to get it or 3 other cards. All characters people recognise are here in an interesting take on the War of the Roses. It's sort of a sequel to Forbidden Memories. Fusing is just like Forbidden Memories. You need the right cards, then you can throw them together without polymerization. Or discard cards if you're not pulling anything good, so you can draw more. This different style of gameplay works really well. It is a shame they've never done it again, but with how crazy Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten, it probably wouldn't be feasible. I will always come back to it Really fun take on an already fun car game. The game that my neighbor gave me because his own son was too young. It was a 12 plus. And boy am I glad he did. Rayman was really the only Ubisoft game I played at the time, so I did not know what I was getting into with Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Stepping into the world of Persia, a tale of a young prince who makes a foolish mistake in releasing the deadly curse of the Sands of Time, turning everyone into sand zombies except him, one girl, and the evil Vizier who tricked him into releasing the sands. If I wasn't impressed with the presentation of the game, it was the acrobatic gameplay of the prince. Running along and up walls, wall jumping, climbing poles, swinging, running over your enemies to do some cool strikes on your opponents, countering attacks, and this was just the prince on his own. However, everything changes when he gets the Dagger of Time. The only thing that can reseal and undo the Sands of Time grants the prince the ability to manipulate time. Rewind being the biggest feature here. About to die? Just rewind and you're good. Of course you have a number of uses, otherwise you could never die. Like a certain other Prince of Persia game. You can slow down time for switches and enemies, and even move at blinding speed for a short time to quickly dispatch your opponents. Not to mention the story is very engaging, charming, really good character development. It can honestly make for a movie. Oh. They are actually remaking Sands of Time, which I will just say I'm not the biggest fan of how it looks at the moment. But it seems they are listening and taking their time, so I hope they do this game a service because it is honestly a great Ubisoft title. I'm not really a horror guy, so when it comes to Capcom, I don't play games like Resident Evil. What I do play though is the Onimusha series, or as some people like to call, Resident Evil in feudal Japan, but samurais and demons instead of zombies. Sounds accurate. Oh, and also, good demons who give you magical power to take on the bad demons, absorb their power to make you stronger. I love samurais, they are the most coolest type of warriors if you ask me. My favourite Onimusha game has to be the third one, Onimusha 3 Demon Siege. It makes the gameplay even better, and this intro alone sells me on the game. You go to real places in France and Japan. Oh yeah, so time travel is a major thing in this game, as a Gemma scientist, that's the bad demons, found a way to travel to the future, 2004 in this case, and end up in Paris. This involves Cop Jacques, aka the actor Jean Reno? Yeah, they managed to get him in this game, and the main character Samanosuke is also based off of Takeshi Kaneshiro, a Japanese actor. Team these two up and you get two badass characters, a samurai wielding swords and a French cop wielding different types of whips. Onimusha's combat system is super fun. It's a hack and slash, so you're gonna be pressing square a lot for regular attacks, but you have the triangle button for magical attacks with each weapon you obtain. You can block and counter, which they call Easons. Easons has to be one of the most satisfying moves to pull off in, well, any video game. It's a counter, so naturally you need to time things. Wait to block at the right moment and then attack, or you can wait and attack at the right time to counter without blocking. Enemies can die instantly if you do this, and you land a critical blow on bosses. Holding down the R1 button can also charge up your weapon for a strong attack, and as you level your weapon up, you can charge it up to 3 times. Switching between Jacques, who got teleported to Japan, while Samanosuke is in France, they work together in both areas to stop the Gemma's plot for world domination. Onimusha really does feel like a Resident Evil game. Camera angles, hubs, even the menu system. But that's because it actually was planned to be. But I'm glad it wasn't, because I would not have experienced this awesome hack and slash title by Capcom. What an experience for my teenage self, looking for a Dragon Ball Z game back when Blockbuster still existed. What's this? Dragon Quest? This looks kinda cool. Art is by Toriyama as well. Pops in the disc, and I never looked back. I had gotten my feet wet with the Final Fantasy series, but it wasn't really hitting me well. Dragon Quest on the other hand, I gelled with immediately. Maybe it was because of the familiar art style of Toriyama, the open world, the characters, the music, the battles, the monsters. I was in a world of wonders and I never wanted this game to end. Dragon Quest VIII definitely got me into the series. The world of Dragon Quest is charming and this game really brings the series to life. Hands down, it's still my favourite, but there's so many I've yet to play. This game kept me gripped the entire time, whether it was the story, the boss fights, character development, the means of exploring the world, different areas you find. Even grinding levels in this game never felt like too much of a chore. In fact, I tend to find it fun most of the time. Whether it would be how good this game looks for a PS2 title, to the special effects in the turn-based battle system, to characters and monsters that make the whole experience, it's one to remember. I could gush all day, but this isn't a Dragon Quest video, so I'll stop here. But if you guys were ever interested, I would not mind doing a review of this game. Hint, hint. Ultimately, this helped push my interest in RPGs even more. And I hope with Dragon Quest XI on all consoles now, that people will give Dragon Quest a chance. The PlayStation 2, home to a huge category of incredible games and still many that I haven't experienced yet. Peak PlayStation if you ask me, and I'd love to know what your top 5 PS2 games are in the comments below. If you want more top 5, then click the video on screen now. I did a top 5 PS1 games, and I'm sure I'll do one for PS3 and PS4 in the future. Thanks for watching.